The most surprising thing about The Notebook is that it sells two different definitions of devotion. One is loud, urgent, and pushy. The other is quiet, repetitive, and patient. The film stitches them together and invites you to treat them as the same love. Start with the high-pressure romance. Noah and Allie meet as teenagers in 1940s South Carolina. Everything around them makes intensity more likely. Time is limited to a summer. Their class difference raises the stakes. Friends and strangers are watching, which adds social pressure. That early intensity is not mystical. It is a recognizable human state. When people fall hard, attention narrows, thoughts get intrusive, risk tolerance goes up. You see craving, preoccupation, and constant proximity seeking. In real life, that can happen fast, especially inside a tight time window. But the film also rewards a risky lesson. Persistence gets framed as a pure signal of love, even when it crosses a boundary. The clearest example is the Ferris wheel scene. Noah hangs from the ride and threatens to drop unless Allie agrees to go out. That is not a romantic shortcut to consent. It is coercion dressed up as courage. When someone says yes under pressure, the yes is contaminated. Public spectacle matters. Fear matters. Feeling responsible for someone else's safety matters. The film collapses two different signals into one. It treats interest and relief from pressure as if they are the same thing. A similar confusion shows up with the famous letter writing. Noah is sent to write Allie every day for a year. She never replies because her mother intercepts the letters. Inside the story, that makes Noah's persistence look morally clean. He was not being ignored. He was being blocked. Behaviorally, though, it still models a tricky decision rule. When you send messages into silence, you are in uncertainty. Real people usually update their beliefs. Maybe the message never arrived. Maybe it arrived and they chose not to answer. Maybe someone else is controlling access. Treating non-response as a test of endurance can trap people in one-way pursuit. There is also a cost issue. A year of daily letters is a massive investment. In real relationships, investments can deepen commitment. They can also create entitlement. After what I did, you owe me. The film skips that darker possibility and turns unilateral effort into automatic proof. Then the story hits its most instructive compression. Years later, Allie is engaged to Lon Hammond. She sees Noah's restored house, returns, and the bond reignites fast. That reactivation is psychologically plausible. Places and objects can trigger autobiographical memory. They can pull forward an old self, not just an old partner. So Allie is not choosing between two men only. She is choosing between two self-narratives. One is status, stability, and social approval. The other is a vivid identity she once rehearsed, tied to the house, the town, and the feeling of first love. Where the film gets shaky is what it does next. The adult reunion rushes through accusation, anger, and sex, as if intensity solves everything. In reality, three separate tasks are sitting there. First, you need shared facts. Did letters get sent, received, or blocked? Second, you need accountability. Who was hurt and how? Third, you need an explicit choice process. What happens to the engagement and what costs follow? High arousal can bond people in the moment. It can also reduce planning, nuance, and moral negotiation. The movie leans into a common bias, the idea that strong feeling equals truth. If it feels intense, it must be right. That shortcut can lead to premature decisions that feel fated, but are not fully thought through. The engagement arc adds another realism gap. Leaving a committed partner is rarely just an internal authenticity test. It is also a negotiation with a real person, with their own attachment, dignity, and future. Exiting an engagement often brings moral injury, role conflict, and reputational fallout. The film mostly treats Lon as a barrier, not as an agent who will be impacted. And then, late in the story, the film changes its definition of love again. The framing story is an older Noah reading their shared history from a notebook, to an older Allie living with dementia in a care facility. Here, devotion is not spectacle. It is ritual. It is proximity maintenance. It is returning day after day to a partner whose reciprocity is unreliable. That version of attachment is closer to what long-term bonding often looks like. Adult attachment is not only about fireworks. It is also safe haven caregiving. It is regulated presence under stress.